This plane and I may be gone, and the memories of me may fade. But one thing is for certain, God gave me the position of pilot.
Hold on. Shoot. Man, I'm sorry about this. I hope this doesn't ruin your day.
22, cross runway 16 left, contact ground for your resequence.
Dang, did you talk to McCord yet? Because I don't think I'd be happy with you telling me I could land like that, because I could mess some stuff up.
Well, Richard, I already talked to him, and just like me, what we want to see is you not get hurt or anybody else get hurt.
I got a lot of people that care about me, and it's going to disappoint them to hear that I did this. I would like to apologize to each and every one of them. Just a broken guy, got a few screws loose, I guess. Never really knew it until now. Just, you know.
120.471.
Hey, you think if I land this successfully, Alaska will give me a job as pilot?
You know, I think they would give you a job of doing anything if you could pull this off.
Yeah, right. Nah, I'm a white guy.
Who was the SkyKang? As I look for the SkyKang on YouTube, here's what I find. SkyKang Sky Robbers, a TV show, and tributes to the infamous SkyKang. But what I don't find is a real explanation of what happened here. It's almost as if the SkyKang has been forgotten. But I will not let this legend die. I will do my best to tell you the story of the SkyKang, aka a man named Richard Russell. We will dig through several threads to reveal the full picture. For a quick overview, let's take a look at Know Your Meme. The SkyKang / Richard Russell. SkyKang is a nickname given to a 29-year-old ground service operated Richard Russell after he stole a Horizon Air Bombardier Dash 8 Q400, and the Q400 is what most people cite, airliner from the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, Seatac, and died after crashing on Ketron Island in Puget Sound. The legend of the SkyKang really began on Hacker 4chan. We will review several threads that go over the incident. This event first came to Hacker 4chan's attention on August 10th of 2018. Here you can see a post on N, the transportation board. Alaska Airlines. We are aware of an incident involving an unauthorized takeoff of a Horizon Air Q40. We believe there are no passengers on board. More information as we learn more. An Alaska Q40 has reportedly been stolen from Seatac Airport. There are additional sketchy reports that it may have been shot down and / or crashed, but no confirmation on that as of now. So this was among the first threads detailing this event before anything was known, before there was a Russell Richard, before there was the SkyKang. Here, someone posts the audio logs. Here, Anon says, "You fly planes before?" Oh, hell yeah, man, I played video games before, so I know what I'm doing. Absolutely based. And it's interesting to note that the SkyKang actually pulled off a barrel roll, despite having no prior flight experience other than video games. The most telling and perhaps one of the most important parts of this story is the following quote. "You think Alaska would give me a job as a pilot if I pull this off? I think they'd give you a job as anything if you pulled it off. Nah, I'm a white guy." And it is through this comment and several others listening to his full recording between him and air traffic control that I believe I've gained a clearer picture of who the SkyKang was and what he was going through. You see, Russell Richards worked for the airport, namely handling baggage. He was likely working for minimum wage, and as he says in the audio recording, always had a few screw looses, though he didn't really know it until now. I believe he was just your average man, living an average life, not completely content with the world around him. And he obviously knew of the madness of the world around him, as he mentions that no one wants to hire a white person anymore. In this day of diversity and the progressive agenda, nobody cares about a straight white male. I can only imagine the anguish he was suffering through, and as such he has ascended since to become a legend on 4chan, well known. Here you can see the following image. "See you, Space Cowboy," a reference to Cowboy Bebop, which is the main character's final message at the end of the anime. The SkyKang wasn't dumb. Here an Anon says, in reply to another Anon who says, of effing course it's a white dude and people on the internet are praising and mourning him. Anon replies, well, of course we are. I'm an avionics engineer. I know firsthand the balls and intelligence needed to start up taxi and fly a large twin engine on the first go. The dude is a freaking legend. Anon says, recording of the audio of him and ATC. Something beautiful about this guy. Nobody got hurt. He exposed a security flaw, and he went out the way he wanted. Rip. I believe one of the reasons that the SkyKang's legend is so mystical and so well remembered and so revered is simply because what he did was definitely a crime. He stole a plane, he flew. But here's the thing, he didn't hurt anyone, he didn't cause any damage, and the plane that he destroyed most likely was covered by insurance. To many people online, he represents a flight into freedom. The fact that nobody else was hurt is what makes his legend so memorable. Anon says, is the color of skin really relevant? Anon replies, he believes it was part of why he was unemployable for anything above minimum wage. But yeah, the reason someone wouldn't get pissed off of him despite this is that he'll never do it again. And the only people who got hurt were only hurt financially. And whoever they were, they owned a plane, so they were obviously rich. So they obviously deserved it somehow. So N is not a polarized board, it's full of conservatives as well as left-wingers. There's people who believe that white people suffer no strife. Perhaps that's part of why the SkyKang was suffering from sadness. Perhaps that's what drove him to take to the skies. Because he lived in a world where no one cared about him because of the color of his skin. Anon says, expose a security flaw. Literally all airports will review their security setup because of him. He indirectly saved untold amounts of lives. Here we see a meme. The Virgin Statue Climber immigrated from an African country, devotes her existence to disparaging the people, built a host country and gave her infinitely better quality of life. Childless at 44 years old. Disrespectful and negative person. Few friends, hated by neighbors. The Chad SkyKang instantly captures the imagination and frustration of white people, galvanizing them. Pulls amazing aerial feats with Jesus Christ as his co-pilot. Calls out anti-white hiring practices. Goes out in a literal blaze of glory in a joyride that will forever be remembered. Described as a good-natured, warm, gentle family man by all that know him. I feel it is only appropriate to review this thread archived on Polls Politically Incorrect. This is a thread celebrating the legend of the SkyKang, and through reading these, perhaps we can find how the internet has come to view such a man. Here Anon asks, realistically, if the ATC talked him into landing safely and the plane had minimal damage, although it would need major inspection after the stunts he pulled, what kind of jail time would he be looking at? Federal charges or what? So here Anon says, life. Unfortunately, crashing was the more humane way out. It really says a lot about the world we live in, where if this man had actually landed the plane, American laws would have put him in jail, put him in prison, and made his life hell. As soon as he took off on that plane, our society decided that he no longer could land. This is what happens when the law is unjust. This is what happens when people do not care about mental illness. We got rid of the asylums, and now the mad run free. Those who are sick suffer in silence. Here Anon says, our Kafka-esque society would have thrown the book at him. In a just society, he'd have walked out of it with probation and being banned from working at airports. Anon says, F. All hail the mighty SkyKang. Here Anon says, recalling his thoughts about the SkyKang, I envy him. Imagine being a guy who waits for it. He goes through daily life struggle every single day of his life. He goes to school because it's going to bring him a good job. Then he goes to university because having a degree because it's important. Then he goes for slave waging and he realizes that all his struggle, all his effort brought him to nothing more but more effort for the rest of his life. And it wouldn't even be that bad if not for the awareness of being fooled. There was a struggle, but there was no prize. Wasn't he the most loyal servant of the system? Didn't he go for all the steps they told him to? Where was the happiness he was promised? Why his power process didn't bring him anything but a question, is that it? To some degree, we're either already that man or on the path to be him. He had the balls to go for the final solution. Next couple of weeks while slaving away in my job, I will think about him and wish I could go off like him. Burn really bright because I know that when this plane was about to hit the ground, when he knew he's about to die, he was truly a happy man. Happier than he'd ever been. Happier than he ever was in his day-by-day life. I will go for a couple of drinks and call it a night. Now, I believe strongly that the Sky King just needed a little bit of direction in his life. Perhaps he needed a friend. Perhaps he needed words of encouragement. Perhaps he needed to be told that instead of dying, he should live. To rage against the dying of the light. I strongly believe that society needs to change the way it views mental illness and provide more help to those who are suffering. Too often, those who are suffering are ignored. Here a post says, it evens out in the end, a reference to the fact that no matter how rich the man, no matter how powerful, no matter how great he believes himself to be, in the end, we all grow old and pass away. To many people, the Sky King is a cautionary tale. A tale of what happens when one man has just had enough. To others, he is an inspiration, not for leaving this realm, but for the fact that for a moment, he took to the skies and was truly free. A man who hurt no one, who wanted to hurt no one, who simply took flight. There are some who say the Sky King still flies across the sky. Some people even claim they've seen a shadow, the edges of a small plane, flying through the sky, just above the clouds, misty and uncertain. But regardless of what the reality may be, I think it's safe to say that the Sky King continues to soar in our hearts, flying on the wings of eternity just beyond the horizon. Rest in peace, Sky King. You will be remembered, at least by a few of us, and your tale will not be forgotten.